Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the final presentations of INNOspace Weekend! How was the weekend? How were the mentors? How are your presentations? All right, that good. We're gonna have to go to the Sunday slides. All right, so first of all, I would like to thank all of you for the effort that you put here throughout the weekend. I would like to especially thank the mentors that have helped out. So if the mentors are here, please stand up and give them a big round of applause. Thank you so much. Also, let's give a big round of applause for the black t-shirts, the organizers that put so much work here to make everything smooth. And big round of applause for all of the participants that put on so much work to come up with these final presentations. And we also need to thank our host, DLR, and I'm gonna ask now to come on stage, Miss Franziska Zeitler, and please, big round of applause for DLR for making this event happen.
Yeah, thank you, and good evening to everybody. Please let me say some words to the background of INNOspace initiative. The initiative INNOspace, and you see INNOspace Weekend. This is an initiative that started in 2040 in charge of the Federal Ministry for Economic Affairs and Energy. And this initiative has targets to foster innovation and cross-sectoral cooperation and technology transfer. We do also support the change that is called New Space. We are looking for spin-ins and we are supporting spin-offs. These are the main targets of this initiative. And we have several instruments. The instrument that we realize workshops for new markets and new space. We have cross-sectoral conferences, and we support competitions like the INNOspace Masters that started in November, and you are invited to join this competition, maybe with your idea that you have created this weekend. And one of the main instruments is this INNOspace Weekend. And so we are very happy that we have so many participants from different countries. We are very glad that you are here and that you have so much engagement all the last 3 days. And I also would like to say thank you to the partners. We have very competent and very good partners that support the INNOspace Weekend. First, the Stadt Köln. On Friday, the welcome opening remarks Henriette Reker has done. Then we have OHB and Airbus. These are the main companies in the space sector. And we are supported as well by ESA. Business incubation centers. Maybe one of you will start the startup in one of the 2 business incubation centers in Germany. And at least Rhine Cargo supported also this event. Now we come to the most exciting part of this weekend, the final presentations. And the members of the jury and we are very curious to see the final presentation. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you so much. So throughout the weekend, we talked about the presentation that you should prepare, the 5-minute presentation, then the 3 minutes of questions from the jury. We also talked about how you should structure your pitch, so I believe that you are ready for this. But before we start, I would like to introduce the jury members, and I will give them the microphone so they can introduce themselves and say a few words about their background. Let's start on this side.
Hi everybody, it's great to see you. I can't wait for your pitches. My name is Olli De Weck. I'm a professor at MIT, but currently on sabbatical at Airbus, serving as head of technology planning. It's great to see you all.
Hello folks, my name is Timo Stuffler. I'm working for OHB, one of the co-supporter here of this event. I'm responsible for the business development, and I have always an open view to new and challenging ideas. Looking forward to your talks. Thank you very much.
Hi there, my name is Ivo Straßenburg. I work for P3. I'm actually from the aviation, so I'm more looking for the aviation parts, and then maybe things you can cross-innovate, and also looking forward to your business models. So I'm very excited. Thanks.
So, hello everyone again. I think most of you have seen me by now, at least once or twice in the course of the event. I want to say thank you to you. It was really interesting experience. It was really nice to see how the teams formed up, and now I'm really looking forward to see your presentations. Go for it.
Yeah, my name is Franziska Zeitler. You have seen me. Thank you.
So, hello everybody, I'm Michael Brockam. I'm working in the DLR, the Department Innovation and New Market, and I'm looking for very interesting proposals now, and yeah, let's see.
Good afternoon. My name is Frank Zimmermann. I'm an aerospace engineer, and I'm running the ESA Business Incubation Center in Darmstadt, which is near ESOC, which is the Space Operations Center. And I'm really looking forward to seeing your ideas being incubated there. Looking forward to your presentation.
Hi, I'm Thomas. I'm a space engineer and also have a management background. I'm working for the ESA Big Bavaria in Munich, and yeah, I'm also really curious to see what you've done this weekend.
Thank you. As I said before, you have 5 minutes for the presentation, and we're gonna have there on the laptop the timer, and we will stop you the usual way with applause when the 5 minutes is up. And then we're gonna have the very strict as well, 3 minutes for questions from the jury. As we talked before, try to keep your answers as brief as possible. If you don't know the answer because someone else is in your team took care of that, invite them to take over the microphone and give the answers. In the meantime, don't forget to use the hashtag, tag INNOspace Weekend, and have a lot of fun! All right, so let's have the first team to prepare. The order of the presentation is the order that you have on your the number of your teams. So we're gonna have team 1 to team 10. So first team to come on stage is Commercial Astronomy, and the second one, Brainspool, will prepare to come up next. So big round of applause for Commercial Astronomy.
Okay. So, good evening, everybody. So, we are basically, our team wants to basically combine astronomy and space science together and make astronomy commercial and available to everybody. So we call ourselves CAST, Commercial Astronomical Space Telescopes. So we are here to cast stars onto the star stuff, which is us. So we have a big problem in astronomy today, in optical infrared astronomy, that is resolution. Earth-based observations, we have a big patch of atmosphere above us, which distorts our images, so we lose a lot of data. And this idea has been thought a lot of times by Hubble Space Telescope, by all these other teams, and they basically came up with a solution of putting telescopes in outer space. So for us, what we are going to do is we're taking it one step ahead, because they are looking into one specific target, but we are proposing for a massive constellation of survey telescopes, small-scale survey telescopes. So these are going to be a 0.5 meter wide primary mirror, and this is going to be a non-traditional telescope because it is going to be an off-axis Cassegrain system, which will, it will be an off-axis Cassegrain system, which will basically reduce the secondary obstruction, so we have maximum light. And when we can't observe outer space, we can simply, we have a small flip mirror, over here, which will simply close the shutter for the space observation, and we can do low resolution, fast Earth observation. So our space survey will be in real time. So we will have fast telecommunication using geostationary satellites, relays. So we will have fast communication, which means we will provide astronomers and the community real-time fast data and fast survey data. So our main design is basically the off-axis Cassegrain telescope, so we won't have any secondary obstruction. So we gain on resolution as well as sensitivity, because this is going to be on low Earth orbit, so it's going to sweep through the sky pretty fast, and we have pretty short time to look at the faintest star possible. So for funding, we are thinking about joining with a few universities and astronomical institutes and telescope organizations. Thank you. So we're going to join with astronomical institutes and telescope organizations who will also support us through instrumental and also through other instrumentation support, and as well as getting it to the public through outreach. For Earth observation, we are also planning to provide cheap Earth observation, optical infrared Earth observation data, and also we are going to also concentrate on also sorting our data using citizen science projects like Galaxy Zoo, Planet Hunter. We are going to use a similar web-based service where we will sort our data. So we won't. So we will have an initial machine learning algorithm which will sort our data to find new objects, which will be then finalized by people, like everybody. So what we think as to start with is, since we have huge money to go for, which is to build such a device, we at least need 1 million euros on the manpower and also on the material and everything. So our mirror is going to be completely 3D printed carbon fiber mirror. So we will have a tie-up with another winner of last year's INNOspace Masters, Oculus, who have made perfect carbon fiber 3D printed mirrors. So we are going to save on money as well as weight, but however, we're still a bit around 1 million euros, and for our dimensions, 0.5 meter space telescope, to launch it, we need about 1.5 million euros. And to achieve this, other than from funding, we are also trying to market this telescope onto Earth-based observation. So amateur astronomy, or also provide similar telescopes for ground-based initial set of observations, so it can also be used for technical validation. And also on long term, we will get support from astronomers through instrumentation, and also from governments, and also from private individuals like SLU, where they can subscribe to basically interact with real-time scientific data, so it can increase the public outreach. So this is our team. It's Florian, Max, myself, Rusty, and Jan. And we present to you commercial astronomy. Yeah, this was supposed to be our satellite.
Questions?
The the wavelength range you want to work in with this telescope? And the second one is, have you considered that if you use the telescope for science applications, you're probably in a very low photon rate counting mode, and if you go to the Earth observation application, you have a much higher intensity on that level. So how do you cope with these intensity changes, and what kind of wavelength range you want to use the telescope for?
So as a quick solution for the intensity fluctuation from Earth observation to space observation, we can, of course, put some neutral density filters which can cut down our light, so thereby reducing our intensity. So just one thought from the top of my head right now, just a simple technical solution. Or we can probably invest on 2 detectors, also 2 simultaneous detectors.
You want to have as much light as possible, so
yeah,
also for Earth observation purposes. But this
just to cut the right amount of light so that we don't saturate our detector.
Okay, great, very interesting. Am I assuming correctly that people interested in your service will be able to submit observation requests, say online? And what if there's conflicts? Who gets? Is it a bidding system? Like, if I bid more, my observation will win at that time. So how do user requests get submitted?
So one of the important things, so for that we have observing priorities. So one of the important priority that we will keep for is basically looking for transient events, or any other trigger events for, say, a supernova or a gamma ray burst, or even like the new gravitational wave. So if we have any optical or infrared triggers, so we can basically then instruct the ground-based telescope. This will be our top priority in the sense, because the large-scale telescope, ground-based or space-based telescopes, can then follow up the event in a much more better precision. So that will be on the top priority. And the next priority will be, of course, the professional astronomers who will support us by instrument or by funding and everything. So they will be the next priority. And then, of course, for the outreach, so for amateur astronomers, for the common public.
Okay, a question about market entry. You mentioned in your presentation a fleet of satellites. Can you say a little bit more about how many do you need initially to have proper coverage?
So initially we are basically, we want to test this with a single satellite. So we are thinking about a field of view of 1 degree by 1 degree. So we aren't looking at super high resolution. So in that case, we will require a fleet of 10, but we can increase the coverage by 100 or something.
Thank you so much. So this was the first presentation, commercial astronomy. Now on stage is going to be Team Brainspool, and the next team to prepare will be Team BioAir. But now on stage, big round of applause for Brainspool!
Thank you a lot. Hello everybody, are you ready to be excited? Yes. Me? Yes. Okay, good. Good afternoon everybody. I'm so excited to introduce exciting inciting artificial intelligence system to you. The Brainspool. You know, every day, tens of millions, tens of thousands of scientists are publishing the great findings, papers, applications. You know that every day, tens of thousands of entrepreneurs are going outside, actually search for a solution. But these two guys go into the different channel. There's a huge gap in between. Today, my team and I would like to introduce Brainspool to you to bridge this gap. My powerful team has nearly all the expertise we needed for this part. Start with Alex. Alex is a CEO, and he is searching very hard to get a very good battery for his underwater drone. So the battery he needs a good light and a very high battery capacity. However, he have never learned science. Me, advanced material scientist. Last year, I have just discovered a very awesome material published in Nature. For this point, I'm so busy in all my projects. I'm so excited by all the academic searches. I haven't, thanks to the Brainspool, that he introduced my work to Alex. I have never known that some guy in Russia can use my materials to put in underground water. This is the contribution of Brainspool, has the high, fast, reliable matching between the needs and academic findings. And this platform can provide the translations from different languages and also interpreted the needs of the market to the academic language. From that way also, how does it work? Actually, it's very simple. It's so simple that you only need to report your needs in this blog and press search. This artificial intelligence system based on the machine learning has just found it out and then interpreted the result in a business way to say, Alex, look, the material A can be used to enhance the battery capacities. And then, unfortunately, it's in Chinese. Alex said, how should I use it? How should I implement it? I want to use that. And who should pay for that, you know? And then come Eddie. Eddie is a senior consultant, very experienced in technology transfer and the solutions. Eddie said, what is cool? I'm searching for new solutions for my customers every day. That's it. I will pay for that. Can you please recommend me on your website? Yes, it worked. There is around 7,700 Eddies in Germany. And we would like to start to target as this group of people as our first market. We go outside to ask the different parties to validate the ideas. All different parties have given very positive feedback to see, awesome, we would like to use it. Of course, it's a very high competitive industry. All these big names are standing there. For this point, however, nobody can really integrate about translation, interpretation, and matching in one system. That's our differentiation, make us unique and competitive. The business model, we create that we will charge Eddie 20,000 euros every year to be recommended in our system and then get the information. And he confirmed that he's more than happy to pay for that. How to go to market? We propose here three channels to get the first market. Now come to the most exciting part. Yes, this platform sounds very exciting, breakthrough, and we would like to build up this artificial intelligence based on the machine learning and also bring them to market. Thus, we ask for 8 million for the next 24 months. Based on our financial projection, we would like expect that it will have breakthrough at the end of the second year. So now, your turn. Thanks a lot for your attention. Welcome for your comments. Welcome, my team. Welcome, my team.
If I may start, as you showed Google on one of your competitions or competitors, did you consider that you could maybe even cooperate with them? So you want to develop a whole new AI on your own? Maybe you could use already existing systems and just merge them?
May I give to our senior consultant?
Hi everyone. My name is Eddie Berkovic. Google definitely doing exciting stuff, especially in the Google Score. They're using also artificial intelligence and other things. On the first stage, we want to solve the problem of Alex, which is interpretation. This is our main goal, to solve this problem of interpretation. Once it will be solved, and we know already approximately how it should be solved, then it might be possible that we will definitely cooperate with Google.
Technology, in terms of the algorithms you're going to use. I don't want any details, but do you have any idea what type of data you would need to be able to feed an artificial intelligence?
Yeah, my name is Shashi. I am a data scientist and I have a lot of experience in data. Without any technical information, it's quite hard, but basically to see what's out there and to take API to academic research, to take API to ways of getting the information that the entrepreneurs are putting in, start learning what the entrepreneurs are putting in to understand what they're looking for, going through the, is it too technical? Going through, I mean, everybody here are scientists, going through the input that we get from the API and starting adding categorization and all kind of information to the academic research to make the match. So we are basically classifying everything that we get in the API. The API is constantly going on. On the same time, the searches that people are inputting are also learned, and then we eventually do the matching. Is it enough?
On the one, so it's a two-sided market, kind of, that you're addressing. On the scientific side, we have the open access journals, right, which are fully accessible, no fee, but still a lot of the scientific literature requires you to pay to have access. And will this not erode your profits?
Yes, the simple answer is partnership. Today, universities are investing too much in the getting public with the researchers, and they would like to be part of this.
Thank you. We still need to allocate the same amount of time to all the teams, so we need to keep it fair. All right, next team on stage is BioAir, and the next team that needs to prepare themselves is space mining. But right now, big round of applause for BioAir!
Well, hello everyone. I'd like to start off by actually asking you guys a question. So, can you all raise your hands if you know somebody who has either got a respiratory condition or like asthma or anything like that? Can you just raise your hands? Okay, that's quite a lot of you. And that's not surprising if you think about it, because we pump out so many different pollutants into the atmosphere every single day. To give just one statistic, each year we pump out 26 billion tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. And this is a big problem, not just for individual health, but for bigger problems like global warming. So we came up with, and it's a big problem, especially like large cities in China where smog is also a big problem. In order to combat this, we came up with a product which uses a biotechnology, i.e. algae, to combat this. So it takes in polluted air and outputs clean air we can breathe and also biomass we can recycle. So, there's a large percentage of people in the population who this could benefit. It's estimated that globally there's over 500 million people who suffer from these respiratory conditions, which are aggravated by pollutants. And to give a statistic, in Beijing, China, since the start of this year, over half of the days, people haven't been able to breathe clean air. But it's not just that, the market's bigger. There's also eco-activists out there. There's also families with children, and also people that like good design. There's also lots of open space where people gather, like pubs, restaurants, offices, and health centers, gyms, etc. we can target. In order to get there, we need to have a very rapid R&D process, because all the technology is already out there, we just need to put it together. So a rapid R&D process, and then a rapid production. And then we'll generate a lot of revenue from initial sales, and then we can skim the market. And then we can also generate revenue from things like refilling algae, CO2 data and pollutants we can collect, and also eventually from the biomass itself. And we want to do this by crowdfunding, because not only will that generate the initial revenue, but it'll also generate a community and the social backing we need for a company like this. Now, as with any product, there are competitors. There are competitors like Sharp, which have got air purifiers, but they're very expensive. They're in the order of 350 to maybe even 900 euros per unit. There's also people that have a similar idea, but they've lacked any good design and they've lacked management, and they've all sort of fallen through. And then you've also got an interesting company, and that's probably our biggest competitor or biggest competition, and that is a company called Skytree. And what they do is they take ESA technology used on the ISS to scrub the air, and then they're applying it to in industry to scrub out the CO2 and then resell that. But we're looking for the consumer market, not the industry market to begin with. So in order to combat that, that competition, we need a good team. So there's me, CEO, and I do physics. We've also got 2 amazing engineers, 1 amazing chemist, a good business guy, and also an amazing business guy, sorry, amazing. And there's also 1 important missing ingredient, and that is a biologist. And we think we can get a biologist through quite cheaply through funding a PhD scheme. So in order to go to market, we've done a bit of market research. We've gone around Cologne. We've spoken to some of you guys in the audience. And we found out that people, even on a small income, are willing to pay a premium for this kind of product. The people who need it, and also those that just like the good design. And then also we can push out to more institutions like hospitals and healthcare centres, and even governments for towns and city centres. Moving beyond that, the roadmap ahead, initially we want to put our initial revenue back into R&D. So we want to improve the efficiency of the algae to increase, to decrease the size of the product and decrease the cost of the product, so we can reach more people who actually need it. There's also potential in research to also scrub other pollutants out of the atmosphere, not just CO2, but also things like nitrous oxides, which are highly toxic. And also we want to scale up, so we target businesses and governments as well as those individuals. And then probably my personal most exciting way to push this company forward is we're trying to explore, there's the ESA Moon Village, and they're going to need to generate biomass to be self-sustaining. They're going to need an efficient way to scrub pollutants and toxins out of the air, and that's this. And eventually we want to close the loop with biomass. A beautiful...
Thanks a lot. My first question is, what exactly is your product?
So it's essentially it's a fish tank, right? But it's filled with an algae which will.
No, I understand that, but is it a box or is it like? Do you put it in a room or do you take it with you, or is it big or small or?
It's it goes into your living room essentially. It's about this tall and about this round. We did some calculations. A human has about 600 grams of CO2 per day. So based on calculations on the unit will be able to scrub that amount of CO2 out of a small home.
But it's in a room.
Yes.
Is it possible to take it with you? Because if you're in China, in Beijing, and you want to do dancing on the street, then you need something on the.
Unfortunately, we didn't actually look into that because we found that initially the technology would be too hard to miniaturize it that far.
Okay.
You said that you also wanted to make money from the biomass.
Yes.
Does it mean you're just renting this device out, or you want to sell it, or how you want to get access to the biomass?
Initially, we see the most efficient way is when we go to businesses, so large power plants, because there'll be a large generation of biomass in a single location. But eventually, there's a high density of these products in one area, then a collection service becomes feasible even with partnerships with local governments or to councils with their normal recycling service.
But you're selling the device, you're not renting it out?
No, we're selling it, but we'll also generate revenue because you'll need to reseed the algae every so often.
I think it's a very interesting story to have healthy air. I think the main area is really this SO2 and NOx. SO2 is also very, very intense in terms of causing health problems. And you surely need some more really calculations in terms of, you know, what kind of algae you need, how much, what's the flow rate, and so on and so on. So I think that's really something you have to get better in specifications. And on CO2, the severe problem is really the closed environments, so which is in space station and so on. But to have a spin-off from space to these type of Earth application is surely a good way. But my advice is really calculations, a biologist is urgently needed, and then flow rates and really what you can achieve in that context.
Okay, thank you.
Just a brief one. Can you make it smell nice?
Well, to be honest, it won't smell bad, and you can always add things to make things smell nice, so perfumes or whatever, so yes. All right, thank you very much.
So this was BioAir. Next team on stage is Space Mining, and right after that, team Festiphone should get ready. But right now, big round of applause, team Space Mining!
Just a second. We need some props. Yeah, it's good. Can I start? Yes. Okay. Hi. My name is Bujidar, and I'm from Team Space Mining Technologies. And I want to ask you a question. How long can you survive without drinking water? I assume not more than a few days. Related to that, we identified a problem for the upcoming human-operated missions on the moon. As you all know, there are several big space institutions and startups that want to do that. However, currently, to send water to the moon from Earth, it's very expensive. However, we think that we can harvest water from the ice deposits on the moon using a simple system that we designed that will utilize a fleet of small harvesters that will gather the ice and bring the water to a tanker that will collect it. This is the blueprint of the first device that we are going to send to the moon. We aim to do that by 2020. Here you can see a small mock-up of it that we built in the past few days. So about the market. There are more than a few such missions planned. ESA, for example, you know, they're planning the Moon Village. There are space tourism companies that plan to send people there. And then there's also the fact that Elon Musk himself mentioned recently that before going to Mars, we need a station on the moon. All these are astronauts and people that need water. The minimum amount of water that a team of 6 astronauts needs in 1 year is 5,000 kilos. This is with almost 90% of recycling. Currently, it's very expensive to send water to the moon. However, we are confident that we can decrease the price significantly. To do that, we will need investment of €5 million to build a fully functional device, like this one, a bit bigger maybe, and send it to the moon by 2020. It will be only for confirmation purposes, to test our idea and to prove that we can actually have drinkable water mined from the moon. Afterwards, we will need more investment, and we aim to build the full system and send it to the moon by 2025. And we calculated that we will have equity break-even by 2028, right at the point when there will be people on the moon. We identified some potential partners. ESA recently announced a tendering program for startups to help them build the Moon Village. There's also the Luxembourg government initiative that invests in space exploration, including space mining. And for example, also, we can collaborate with DLR and their facility for moon-like environment here on Earth to test our devices. Some of our competitors include big companies like Deep Space Industries and Planetary Resources. However, those two are focusing on asteroid mining, not on moon mining. Shackleton and Moon Express
are a bit different because Shackleton are quite silent in the late years. They started very early, and we believe they stopped operations. And Moon Express are focusing more on exploration and research on the moon. And our competitive advantage is timing. And of course, our team. We are a team of 7 people from 6 different countries. We are very diverse. We have 5 amazing engineers, 1 really good astrophysicist, and I'm simple businessman. We believe that we can achieve that in less than 7 years, 2025, to have a full functioning system once we start working on it. So thank you, and here's to water.
I assume your device will be located at the poles.
Yes.
So does your customers have to come to the poles? Are they bound to this location, or do you also provide transport for the water to other places?
So we are going to sell the water. Once our tanker is full, it would be able to move around the moon. Of course, it's difficult to move on big distances, but we can collaborate with the different missions there, and we are strongly believe that the missions and the stations will be close to where there are deposits. Anyway.
Okay. How do you want to generate the energy you need to extract the water from the minerals?
Yeah, well, maybe just move a bit. We calculated we need about 600 watts of energy, which is about 3.3 square meters of solar panels. We will send them as part of our launch mission.
Okay.
When the most water is in craters, there's no sunlight.
On the south pole of the moon, there is some peak of eternal light, especially at the rim of some craters, where you have almost 90% of solar visibility due to high local elevation of terrain.
Okay. Would you sell me some hydrogen or some oxygen as well, or just water? I have to do electrolysis myself, or can you do it for me?
This is something that we have been discussing a lot, and this will be as a further stage. We definitely looked into the possibility to separate oxygen and hydrogen. We will do that, and it's a secondary market for us to even supply rocket missions to the moon with propellant. To be used for propellant. Yeah.
Good synergy effect. So I've seen a lot of moon posts already, Maya on the Moon Village and so on, and you're the brewer on the Moon Village with this bottle of beer I've seen there. It's a very nice future model. Talk about your model. You say you need 5 million euros to get to 2020 to the moon, but you need alone 1 million euro per kilogram to get it on the moon surface. Yes. So obviously you need some more support funding in that context.
The 5 million euro includes the launching. We calculated that the actual fully functional device will be between 2 and 3 million, which is between 2 and 3 kilos, which is about 2 to 3 million euro to send. And then we need another 2 million of operations and development costs.
Have you thought about bringing it back to the Earth, the water?
No, this won't be efficient.
Yeah, obviously it's not efficient, but maybe some people would pay for it. I don't know.
If they're willing to pay for all the costs related to the mission, sure. We'll have the water. If they can pay for the transport, no problem.
Thank you. So, how are the presentations so far? Interesting? Looks like we're having many moon missions ahead. All right, let's get down to earth a bit, because our next team that will present is Team Festiphone. So unless we're planning a festival on the moon anytime soon, this one should happen on Earth. And right after them, we have Team Take Me Home that should get ready. But right now, big round of applause for Team Festiphone! and Team Festiphone is using their own gadgets, of course. It works like magic. Microphone is here, clicker is here. Good luck.
Hello, my name is Jan Demming, and together with my team, we are not called Festiphone anymore, sorry. Now we are called Hiver. So, thank you very much for joining this presentation, and I hope that after I'm done, you will also join the Hive. So what is Hiver? Imagine a situation like this. You are in a big crowd at some major event. Maybe it's a festival, maybe it's a concert, maybe it's a special holiday inside the city, and you realize that you cannot use your mobile phone because you do not have a connection because there is an overload on the network. So, maybe you will lose your friends. You will start searching for your friends. They will also start searching for you. And this situation, even though you're on an agreeable festival and you want to enjoy it, can be very frustrating. So, we provide a solution for this problem. We empower people to stay connected even when mobile phone networks don't work anymore. And we do this by providing our very own application for smartphones. It's called Hiver, an application for offline messaging that comes to the user free of charge. Hiver is based on the new technology standard LTE Direct, which connects phones to one another without needing a link to an actual telecommunications network. How does this work? Well, simply connection between 2 points. But then you ask yourself, well, maybe this technology even has a pretty high radius of 500 meters, but what if I'm further away? Well, we want to extend this radius by creating a mesh network of all the users that are in the vicinity. By this, we can extend the radius, the functioning radius, by a very big amount, and in the end, we connect everyone at the festival. So you ask yourselves, how does this actually add value to my life? I can tell you. Well, as I already said, you can enjoy the festival or whatever other occasion it may be together with your friends. No frustration because you are in contact all the time. Furthermore, you can be informed by the influencers, which is a special service that we will provide to the organizers of such festivals, so that they can send information to everyone who's using Hiver. And furthermore, it can also help you in dangerous situations. And for this, we are already starting to conceive an app development, and I will show you what it will look like. This is our app interface. It's here on my phone. You see the screen mirrored on the computer. You fill in your name, you fill in your phone number, because this is how we identify you. You don't need any additional information. You will find your friends by just having their phone numbers in your contacts, which you have anyways. You fill this in, and then you see your friends. How far are they away? And you might even search for friends of friends. You see everyone who is around that you potentially might know. But then, there might be a dangerous situation in which the influencer wants to inform you that something is happening. This could be, for example, a thunderstorm. You should get cover. Also, as I said earlier, it might be some information on what is happening around you. Sorry for the small pause. Now I will introduce to you how we are planning to make profit from this application. The business model you cannot see it right now, but now you see it. The business model relies firstly on the influencer accounts, which will be a payable service that organizers of big events can purchase, and then they can reach all their customers. Furthermore, we have data in situations when nobody else can gather data because they don't have access to the users. And we also offer premium accounts. Thank you very much for your attention, and I hope that you will also join the Hive. Maybe my team can also join me here.
I have a question. How can you make sure that the network and the connection works and there's no distortion between the different signals in this network?
Well, this technology is actually already being used in small-scale applications. And the thing is that so far, the usability is highly influenced by the fact that only Bluetooth and Wi-Fi are used momentarily. And these applications already work. So we are very confident that we can get the same thing to work. We are basically using technology that is already existing, only finding a new market that is a very big market and where it is very relevant.
You connect mobile phones, different mobile phones, and you use them as nodes. So basically,
exactly.
I could be the node in between for two persons communicating.
Yes.
And they're using up what, my data volume, or what is used up?
No,
nothing?
No data volume is used, just the connection between the two of you. It's like using a Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. It's just a direct connection between the two of you that just sends data through the air. Because what you pay for is only the connection to your carrier. And we don't have that.
If I might ask you a second question on just on the legal concerns. You're connecting persons in one network, you're exchanging data, as you said, friend of a friend. Did you make any research on this? Is this okay, feasible? Do they just have to press yes, I consent, and that's it? Or?
Well, maybe for this aspect, Bertrand can tell you something?
Actually, it's like you don't really exchange you don't give information that you don't want to give, except from your name and your mobile phone. It will be just a chatting app that allow you to give a message, to send message and maybe pictures or voice message, but that's it.
Obviously, messages will be encrypted so that nobody can intercept them on the way through, but this is already being done, so there is not a problem there.
To my understanding, to make this work, you will need a community, and that very quickly. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you will achieve that?
Yes, we will partner up with organizations organizing big events, such as, for example, FKP Scorpio. We will approach them and introduce them to our product, because we found out through market research that 85% of the big event organizers would very much welcome introduction of new technologies to help the user or to help the clients have a better experience at their festivals. And this is what we're providing. So you can see our advertisement here on the webpage.
Thank you, guys. So next team that should come on stage is team Take Me Home. And right after that, team Uber Transport. So we're halfway through. Do we still have energy for the other half? Let's hear it. All right, so we want to hear the rest of the presentations, right? That was a bit nasty for a few. All right, so team Take Me Home, please come on stage.
Good evening, my name is Christian Karasch, and yesterday I gave a call to my father and asked him if he would go for a walk with the moon rover. And he was a bit, what? And there you have to know, my father is ill, and he is limited to our house because he needs oxygen, and if he goes out, he needs to carry the oxygen with him. And he has one of these handle cars for old people, but he don't like to use it. But he would use a moon rover, he said. Okay, our project, Take Me Home, and my father is not alone with this problem. So we have a population, or 18 million people in Germany, so let's focus only on Germany, are 65 years old plus and growing. This is honestly quite impressive. They have the second largest income, about 339 billion euro. And 1 out of 10 of those people have a handicap. So what are they feeling about? So we really try to jump into these persons, how they feel. So they feel lonely, they feel insecure going out, they are dependent, they have to ask people to carry their things, to make organizations for them. They are weak, so they cannot carry things. And they somehow feel lost in our daily urban cities. Our solution now is an autonomous, intelligent friend, which can do guidance, transportation, and assistance. Here we have a rough model. It has an artificial intelligence on board, so the grandma can talk to the transport box, which follows, or she can just put her hands, so she don't need her stick anymore. She can just grab it and follows the transport container, our friend. And why is this not on our roads in today's life? I mean, in principle, all these technologies exist. In robotics, we can land on a comet. I mean, we can even automated rovers go on Moon or Mars. So we have this technology, and it needs somebody to put all the puzzles together. So we did a lot of sketching and research, what is already existing, what can we do special, why is our product unique, to combine all these things. And I guess the key is to make it looking friendly, that people accept using this. Like my father, he would go for a walk with a moon rover, but not with his hand carry thing. So, and we also thought about inflating technologies, that you can lift this up, but maybe we can leave this open for questions. And our customers would be like directly the families, airports, shopping malls, or the cities itself offering this as a service to all people. And our revenue stream would be, we want to create a service platform where you can pay per use and things like this, or direct sales if people really want to own their own. And also it generates, I mean, we have GPS, we have artificial intelligence, we can customize all this. We get a lot of data where we can do analysis of daily people's life. And our roadmap, I mean, my background is also I'm project leader of an artificial intelligence which will go on the space station. And I roughly have an estimation what the prototype would cost, but I will not tell now, because my team forced me to remove the price tag. So, first approach would be to really build a user-friendly prototype, which is accepted by old people, and also people who really are too shy to go out. So then we would put the open platform, people can build other ideas on it to use it. There could be the police like at midnight covering and looking around, and additional services. So this is our team. We really became friends during this weekend, so it was really great working with this creative energy. And honestly, this is our vision, to combine space, automotive, and logistics, not to put our grandma on the moon, but let's make
a very quick one on how to implement this in the market. You mentioned cost. Does it have to be something I buy, or can it also be, let's say, like a ride-sharing, a car-sharing platform?
Yes, we are very much aware of the fact that at the beginning, as Christian said, it will be very expensive. We know that. So I think offering a service, or first of all going to airports, for example, or cities, so offering a service is maybe a solution to generate money and also to raise the acceptance.
You're probably aware that something like that is already. So you have luggage which follows you, for example, at the airports and all that stuff. So I understand you're focusing on older people, but how do you think about your competitors?
Okay, yeah, we did a lot of research on that. Yeah, in principle, these technologies exist since 15 or 10 years at least. I mean, the DFKI here in Germany, they're also building this Industry 4.0, and it's too expensive maybe for this daily point of view, but it's like when the iPad or the iPhone came out, all this technology existed and someone put it together. But in your case, I mean, I know as a Saturn they have it, but it's not for all people, and we were really trying to focus to jump into this, that somehow society accepts in existence, or like, yeah, how to say, starting in shopping malls and things like this, that we really focused on helping the old people, because this will be a really serious problem. And I don't see that nowadays approach cover this goal. So
is the element of having a friend for old people, but the other one is security. So for example, if I see this old lady with a bag there, maybe you can have also some safe in it, storing the, you know, the values, and I think that might be also a good element, just as a remark to this.
I'm just curious, do you get this thing somehow to enter a bus or a train? Because I don't think they want to leave it in a train station.
Okay, we discussed plenty of options, and
yeah, our first idea was to use 4 wheels, because you have the Segway, for example, that has problems with stairs. So our idea was also for against the concurrence is quite riding low. So we raised it so we can climb our stairs in buses and everything. So, and if you want to ship it, we can deflate it, inflate it, and you can ship it to the next destination if you want. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, guys. So, 7th presentation tonight is Uber Transport, and right after that we're going to have Team Habitat. But right now, Team Uber Transport.
I think this slide is okay, great. So, hello, we are the former Uber Transport. Hello, we are the former Uber Transport team. Now we call us full for sure, no space left. And you will soon know why. So, normally transportation is quite cheap. Why it is cheap? Because trucks can take a lot of cargo with them, and that makes the transportation cheap. But what is the case when companies want to send not a completely full truck out of full with goods, if they want to send just a single pallet? In that case, it's not anymore cheap. Either you take a complete truck, a large one or a smaller one, whatever, you have always to take a single truck today for transporting it, if you want to get it moved on the same day. We are solving that problem with a marketplace that matches the largest players in the markets, and that are the fulfillment centers where goods are received and sent from, with trucks that have space left and that are anyhow going the route. And that is also where the name Uber comes from. So Uber is basically making taxi driving cheaper through matching people that want to have a ride with people traveling. Here in this sense, it's a little bit different because the trucks will not go extra for this pallet. They are anyhow on the way, and we are matching them. So, and we have done some market research. There are around 600 fulfillment centers in Germany. We start with self-employed single truck drivers in Germany. There are roughly 100,000 of them. They make together a revenue of 3 billion for all basically the transportation. Then we take out of that roughly 10%, and this 10% for the single pallets we share. We make a revenue sharing between our platform and the truck drivers, just to get understanding how much that means for the truck drivers. The truck drivers usually earn roughly 500 euro a whole day. With our service, they can earn in half an hour 100 euro. That's quite a big difference. There are some competitors on the market, but those are not focusing on these small players, and they're not for the same day delivering the pallet. Box to Rail is from Deutsche Bahn. Timocom is the largest player in Europe, and they're also Courier Express providers, but they are basically trucks driving a single pallet. And I want to say a big thank you to Mr. Recht from AD Adlock Logistics. So he is running a fulfillment center. I called him today, and he was the only one. The fulfillment center was on a Sunday available for questions. So he explained me a lot about the market and the problems. But I had to promise him to mention him in his company, and I'm really happily do that. Thanks a lot, Mr. Recht. Alles Paletti. So here we have our team. We have 4 persons. It's Silvio, it's Alessandro, Anna, and me. And we combine a lot of competence already. So everything from business development, over sales, project management, product management, operating a large marketplace we have done before, and also developing that. Here you have a prototype for the fulfillment center where they can register for full for sure. And then my colleague Silvio and Alexander, they will give you now the apps for the truck drivers. Thanks a lot. Yeah. So if you have some questions, please go ahead.
Okay, now I'm allowed to ask. I have a very practical question. I can imagine such an app. I can imagine it's useful for the distribution centers, but how would you actually handle that in practice? How would the truck driver make sure that the goods are, for example, in the right order? I think it's quite a complex task.
So what we are taking care of is only pallets. So we're only speaking about pallets. So they're standardized sizes. So all pallets have the same size, basically. And then the truck driver, they will register their routes, and if they have capacity free on their route, they will register. And when then a distribution center are looking for a driver, they will go into the system, they will say where it has to be delivered, when, and so on. That information is sent to truck drivers that are on the route close to where it should go to. It should take them not more than half an hour extra to go there, leave the pallet, and then go back to the normal route. And that is basically how it would work.
And what is the importance of space technologies in your approach?
We need a positioning system for finding the truck drivers. So there we use space technology.
On the insurance aspects, so you're putting a pallet in someone else's truck who will pay for it if it gets damaged, if it gets lost? You say, okay, he's taking a detour, putting it somewhere when no one is picking it up, maybe because the other one is delayed.
So it's actually going from fulfillment center to fulfillment center in the first step. And that means in the fulfillment center, they work 7 days per week, 24 hours. And the truck drivers that we will take, they have to prove us that they have the right insurance and also the right qualifications. And that was also something Mr. Resch said. It's very important, and the LUET, that also one of the things that we deliver, that we ensure that there are only the right drivers involved in our network.
Have you done some research on why this thing does not exist yet? Because for me it looks that
it doesn't. We know that it doesn't exist yet, and today everything is done basically manually. So the fulfillment center tries to call companies specialized in this like last minute pallet transport, but they call around, and it's not sure that they get every time somebody, because those ones are also quite busy. And I would simply say digitalization has not yet arrived there so much.
When it comes to autonomous running trucks in the future, how would this work then?
Then it gets even more interesting. Because today the big limitation with the trucks is that the driver is only allowed to drive 4 hours.
All right, full for sure. That was the 7th team that presented. We have 3 more. Right now we're going to have Team Habitat, and right after that we're going to have Team Crop Spy. But right now, big round of applause for Team Habitat.
All right. Hello. Team Habitat has been renamed to Surviving Space. So this picture sets already the stage. So for longer human extraterrestrial missions. There are some challenges connected with that in terms of financing, in terms of technology, and also in terms of business. So therefore, this sort of mission needs to take some while to develop. But we have got some challenges on our planet already. And these are not only fictionary. We see natural disasters more and more, also due to natural to global warming, and this is coming more and more. So what happened is loss of lives, loss of ships, loss of homes. And we cannot prevent those crises, but we can prepare for solving and supporting people with shelter and homes, and give them some sort of life support system that they can survive the first time. Some challenges are homemade, self-made, and fully voluntarily. So we see mountaineers, we see a pleasure industry, adventure industry, which is booming actually. We see also in Antarctica, for instance, that this is on the plan on many cruise ships. So both people, both target groups are going for the same thing. They need to shelter, they need a home, they need to have a habitat in order to prevent themselves from this outside environment, which is not really nice. Therefore, they need some power, they need water, they need air, they need heat, they need communication for the emergency, and they need also medical support. So what we've created is a mixture between a shelter, which is inflatable, and also a life support system. And that's really the combination, that a solution exists for a specific application. So my colleague has passed around the modularity where we can put in those live support systems into the structures. And the big difference to other systems on the market, because structures exist and also elements of live support system exist, is that they will be instantly operational. So people don't have to switch it on. If they activate it, everything runs. Because you never know who will be on the shelter. It could be people who can't read, who are not really able to handle a new device. So it's an integrated solution, and it's also lightweight. It should be carried. So no logistic connected. People should carry their own home. So we were inspired by space, but we have to start business on our planet. So we would like to start with live rafts. First of all, with OEM live raft, where we put a live support system to it. Then we start with an own live raft integrated. Then we go for disaster relief shelters and extreme adventure habitats. Finally, we go for the lunar habitat. And the strategy is that we increase complexity over time, and that will we already generate some money and generate also market image. Market image, we would like to be on the next lunar mission where we test equipment. So component suppliers and space integrators are welcome to join. So the market is pretty big and is already existing. It's not a new market. Other players are serving those markets, but we go into a niche where we have got an integrated product. So we have seen the competition. Inflatable structure has got something, life support systems, they have got also some competitors, but our system is an integration, and all those competitors could be also partner to us. So that's our team, Andreas, Kim, myself. You will see them in a couple of seconds. So why now? Lunar mission is soon. Natural disasters are coming more and more. Go for it.
Very interesting. You talked about a lot of different environments. So a lot of disasters happen maybe more in the equatorial zones, right, where it's warmer. You talked about polar, exploration, very different environments. Where does your power come from? What is your source of energy?
Source of energy, there are two ways. First of all, we have got a charged battery for the first couple of hours. And second, our shelter will consist of an PV photovoltaic module where we can have some energy over the first couple of days. That should work on the poles and also at the equator, at least in summer on the North Pole.
You say your advantage is the integration. Do I get this right? So you're not having a shelter plus a technology element which is separate. You integrate it via dedicated materials in one structure.
Yes.
Can you say a little bit more about the functionality then?
So our structure is, because it needs to be lightweight, inflatable. So we've got an interface in the structure where we have got our live support systems, where for each solution, for each application, we can really tailor cut what sort of modules should be connected to. So, if you're at the equator, we don't need a heating system in there, but we need maybe an additional power system, or we need a medical system. If we talk about refugees on the sea, we probably need a sort of medical system in order to support the vital medical information of people if they're really in distress. So it really depends where this sort of structure will be placed at. So we are selling to a particular application. It's not a product which can be deployed everywhere, but it can be sold to the UN, to governments, for instance, in areas where hurricanes are taking place, where people have got a temporary home which is floating, for instance, for raft. But if it's not really filled with water, they can have a temporary home which is instantly operational.
Going a little bit more into detail, so it will replace tents, I assume?
It could replace tents, but if we are talking about, let's say, the mountaineers, where we need some air pressure, tents are not really well suited to do this. So, material could be, that's something where we need to do some experiments. If we go for a lunar solution, it needs to be a very sort of UV and other challenges resisting material. We are talking about several ways. I mean, we haven't decided really for that kind of component.
Thank you so much. Now we're going to have Team Crop Spy, and right after that, the last presentation of the evening is going to come from Team Straighty. But right now, big round of applause for Team Crop Spy.
Okay, hello guys. My name is Lucas, and our team Crop Spy will use Earth monitoring data to boost agricultural productivity around the world. So, why is this important? Our planet will face enormous challenges in the next few decades. We will see a world hunger on the rise. We will need to feed 2 billion more people until we reach the year 2050. And we will face enormous climate change challenges. Whole areas will be devastated by a changing environment. We will have food security issues, which will result in an even more disastrous refugee crisis around the world, not only in Europe. And we face malnutrition for kids, and I already mentioned it, a growing population. This is why our mission will be empower communities to unlock the full potential of agricultural productivity, following our overall vision to achieving food security for a prosperous world. How will we do this? So you see this Earth monitoring data that's getting collected around the world from satellites, drones, IoT devices. But only a small fraction of experts are able to understand this data and getting users and instructions out of it. And the most important part here is that these experts are mostly not in these areas that will need them the most. So to achieve our mission, we will combine every data that is collected on agriculture around the world to translate this data into action plans for local communities in developing countries. And here you can see a small mock-up of our app that will act as an expert in the pockets of local farmers. So you see here a small map of a local farm. Farmer can select his patch of land, and he will get a quick overview and an easy to use and understand interface. He will get immediate instructions on how to treat his land and how to boost his farming, gaining efficiency and increasing his yield. This will protect and secure the area, and the whole area will benefit from this. Yeah, through our research we found out that actually the Sahel zone is a perfect entry market for this solution. We have a fast-growing population here with more than 350 million people living in there, and over 40 million of them are affected by food insecurities. And actually 80% of them work as farmers, mostly subsistence farmers. And half of them have access to smartphones and internet in this region. So to develop our app, we will need a great investment in app development, of course. We will need consultation with specialists, and we will rent cloud computing servers to process the data and gain insights from these data points. On the financing side, you will see some untypical right here. So we are going with a social business model, not relying on income from the farmers, because we will give them for free. Now bear with me. So we have our our business plan right here. So the famous business plan on the napkin. We will buy the data from data companies. We will gain insights from this data, process it, and provide info and education to the local farmers. The farmers will provide food security in the area, which will directly profit the local governments and even the EU governments, because we will lower the risk of a refugee crisis. So ending poverty, hunger, and responding to climate change will be the greatest challenge we will face around the world. And with our solution, we believe we can contribute to a sustainable future, balancing well-being for people, a healthy planet, and economic stability. We work towards achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. Thank you very much. Okay, happy to ask you questions.
The satellite-based Earth observation can deliver many important data and services for precision farming, and for food security. In which way do you intend to integrate Earth observation data and services?
Okay, the problem here is that the precision farming data is mostly from data points that are not visual. So you have this hyperspectral data, for example, that are more healthy to understand. So we will develop solutions that translate this more harder to understand data into insights. Does this answer your question? Okay.
Will this be a fully automated system, so you just get the data and have algorithms to analyze it?
This will be the high-tech solution. I think we will start to translate this data manually. So we have experts working on it, maybe as a volunteering work, or we need to give them money for it. But in the future, we plan to develop maybe self-learning algorithms to fully automate it, yes.
I assume that a big blocking point could be the education of the farmer locally. So did you thought about that?
Yes, and we hope to provide the education through the app itself. So we will have detailed and easy to understand instructions on how to use this more advanced farming techniques. And to do this, we will need to travel to the regions, understand our target group better, to know what they really need in education. And this we couldn't test in the weekend because we were locked here in Cologne.
So it seems to me that your service is predicated on the assumption that there's a lack of information in farm improving. But isn't it true that the real problem is a lack of water? That's the real problem. So how does your solution address lack of water?
You have a lack of water in all areas that are facing climate change. But if you know how to tackle these changes, you will eventually need less water. So you will save water with these advanced farming techniques. So we are able to gain productivity without using more water. Thank you.
Okay, so we have one more presentation for you tonight. And by the smell that I guess you all feel, we're going to have dinner afterwards. So right now, we have the last presentation. So please, big round of applause for Team Straighty.
So, hi everyone. Have you ever encouraged this situation? Your navigation system in your car fooled around, told you to continue, but there was no road. So our world is changing faster every day. Infrastructure is developing and increasing, and one of the things of it especially is our road system. And there are ongoing changes, but the question is always like, when is the change implemented in navigation systems? My name is Julian. I'm a co-founder of Straighty. We're still named Straighty. And our idea is to keep your way up to date. So what is our idea? We want to use satellite imagery to detect changes in road construction with artificial intelligence algorithms, and like calculate that and implement that into navigation data while it's still in construction, so it's ready when you can drive the road actually. We see our market opportunity in the time when as a very like specialized link in a chain, getting satellite data, process it. If there's a new road, inform the mapping companies that are there so they can improve the user experience for the end user. So we really like that small link in this chain, a very specialized one. Our business model, I would describe as very slick and clean. It's simple in a way that it's strictly business to business. There's only a handful of potential customers, being the big mapping companies such as Google Maps, Here Maps, Apple Maps, etc. TomTom Navigations, for example. We wouldn't require any big investment, at least initially, in hardware or any infrastructure. We would get data from like satellite imaging companies, get it with like an interface, process it on infrastructure being rented, like cloud services like Amazon, and then like provide the data to the companies, the respective ones. Our unique selling point would be doing that faster as it's done today. We wouldn't need any like big infrastructure, as I said before, so we could really scale it up like infinitely. You can start it on a small test field and enlarge it like to a whole country or even Europe. That wouldn't be the thing. Like if it works, you can scale it up. That's the advantage. And being shorter to react is the key here. Expenditure side, just from a quality estimate is you would need to buy the satellite data. Then you would need to pay rent for the infrastructure crunching the data, processing it, and developing the algorithm to train and detect the changes from the satellite imagery in an automated fashion. On the revenue stream, there would be subscription services from the mapping companies that would pay for the enhanced like user experience. How is it done today? What are competitors? Today it's done rather manually. In the best case, there is a car knowing from a mapping company, driving around, scanning streets, and ideally knowing where something changed. And the worst case, it's done actually by some users or crowdsourced, like users say, here's a missing road, please edit. That's kind of not so clever, I'd say. And our market's going to market strategy would be, after developing or training, better said, the open source algorithms to detect streets, get in contact with like the mapping companies, tell them, okay, here's this technology, you can use it, stimulate user demand, pitching the concept. Once that's successful, like get the contract, get it going, and then automate like the street detection. It would work as follows. You have satellite imagery, you can have change detection, like here in red colored is like a new street. You would train the algorithm to say identify it as a newly built road because it's a perfect line almost, and then having an output in the form of a new map. Our team is Eric. He's a data or computer science student. We have Gabriela. She's very experienced in geography and a consultant in the IT branch, and I'm an industrial engineer and very passionate about space. So our vision on the long term would be to enhance data, connect it, and get it to companies. Thank you.
Okay, may I start? Good. All right. A question about categorization, whether a road is usable. You mentioned other approaches like crowdsourcing, and they all have in common you are on the road, so you can actually judge this road is finished and it's being used. How would you do that? Because I think that's a core element.
Okay, thank you. So our additional idea is to identify areas of interest, which then in a second step should be evaluated in detail. That could be either done by a better satellite scan, it could be done by a drone flying over it, or a car to really scan like the length of the street and the quality. So this is just to identify the initial areas of interest, because imagine there's millions of kilometers of roads being built over years, but you don't know where exactly as a mapping company. So we want to identify the place where it's interesting to scan new places, so you don't have to scan everything manually all the time, just randomly. So identifying places of interest. Okay.
Do you have a rough estimation on your updating time? So how long will it take from the road is finished or the road is gone somehow until you can give the data to the companies?
Okay. Rough estimate is satellite data is now available almost daily. So you could detect changes in satellite imagery if a road is changing almost daily. Run it through the algorithm. I guess that wouldn't take too long. So I'd say maximum couple of days, but ideally it would be faster made, let's say next day. But normally road construction takes a longer time. In other cases, if a road gets flushed by a hurricane or something, it would disappear the next day, and then maybe you have it on the next day at least. That's the idea.
On this satellite data, you need high-resolution data, and those high-resolution satellites usually have a small swath. So you really have to, satellite has to know where it should look at, and so this requires some pre-information. Then you need a cloud-free condition. So this you really have to check a little bit in terms of availability of data and so on.
Okay, thanks. One thing to mention here is we took this image here. Is taken from Planet Labs, who was a partner here, and their resolution is actually sufficient. This is 3 meters resolution, and you can see the new road being built. And they have daily imagery, so I guess that's really sufficient. You don't need like the super high resolution that's costly, because this one is more affordable and it's sufficient for this one. Thank you.
Just a thought, think about scalability. Why only limiting yourself to roads?
This is why I wanted to mention the vision. We want to start with roads. If we see this is an idea, train the algorithm for other stuff and scale it. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. All right, so these were the 10 presentation of INNOspace Weekend. Good job, everyone. It was a long weekend, but we made it. So even though we're going to announce the winners later, it's time to start celebrating. So we have some wine prepared for you in the back. And because we're ahead of schedule a bit, imagine that we're ahead of schedule, dinner will be ready in a few minutes, but then I'm sure that you're going to appreciate enjoying the wine a bit more. We're going to be back here after dinner, and we're going to announce the winners.